Bhakti or Devotion, Part 2. Therefore, we should get rid of these childish notions. We should get beyond the prattle of men who think that religion is merely a mass of frothy words, that it is only a system of doctrines, to whom religion is only a little intellectual assent or dissent, to whom religion is believing in certain words which their own priests tell them, to whom religion is something which their forefathers believed, to whom religion is a certain form of ideas and superstitions to which they cling because of their national superstitions. We should get beyond all these and look at humanity as one vast organism, slowly coming towards light, a powerful plant slowly unfolding itself to that wonderful truth which is called God. And the first gyrations, the first motions towards this are always through matter and through ritual. In the heart of all these ritualisms, there stands one idea prominent above all the rest: the worship of a name. Those of you who have studied the older forms of Christianity, those of you who have studied the other religions of the world, perhaps have marked that there is this idea with them all: the worship of a name. A name is said to be very sacred. In the Bible, we read that the holy name of God was considered sacred beyond compare, holy beyond everything. It was the holiest of all names, and it was thought that this very word was God. This is quite true. What is this universe but name and form? Can you think without words? Word and thought are inseparable. Try if any one of you can separate them. Whenever you think you are doing so through word and forms, the one brings the other. Thought brings the word, and the word brings the thought. Thus, the whole universe is, as it were, the external symbol of God, and behind that stands his grand name. Each particular body is a form, and behind that particular body is its name. As soon as you think of our friend so and so, there comes the idea of his body, and as soon as you think of your friend's body, you get the idea of his name. This is in the constitution of man. That is to say, psychologically, in the mind stuff of man, there cannot come the idea of name without the idea of form, and there cannot come the idea of form without the idea of name. They are inseparable. They are the external and the internal sides of the same wave. As such, names have been exalted and worshipped all over the world, consciously or unconsciously. Man found the glory of names. Again, we find that in many different religions, holy personages have been worshipped. They worship Krishna, they worship Buddha, they worship Jesus, and so forth. Then there is the worship of saints. Hundreds of them have been worshipped all over the world. And why not? The vibration of light is everywhere. The owl sees it in the dark. That shows it is there, though man cannot see it. To man, that vibration is only visible in the lamp, in the sun, in the moon, etc. God is omnipresent. He is manifesting himself in every being. But for men, he is only visible, recognizable in man. When his light, his presence, his spirit shines through the human face, then and then alone can man understand him. Thus, man has been worshipping God through men all this time, and must do so as long as he is man. He may cry against it, struggle against it, but as soon as he attempts to realize God, he will find the constitutional necessity of thinking God as a man. So we find in almost every religion these are the three primary things which we have in the worship of gods: forms or symbols, names, God-men. All religions have these, but you find that they want to fight with each other. One says, my name is the only name, my form is the only form, and my God-men are the only God-men in the world. Yours are simply myths. In modern times, Christian clergymen have become a little kinder, and they allow that in other religions, the different forms of worship were foreshadowing of Christianity, which of course they consider is the only true form. God tested himself in older times, tested his powers by getting these things into shape, which culminated in Christianity. This, at least, is a great advance. 50 years ago, they would not have said even that. Nothing was true except their own religion. This idea is not limited to any religion, nation, or class of persons. People are always thinking that the only right thing to be done by others is what they themselves are doing. And it is here that the study of different religions help us. It shows us that the same thoughts that we have been calling ours and ours alone were present hundreds of years ago in others, and sometimes even in a better form of expression than our own. These are the external forms of devotion through which man has to pass. But if he is sincere, if he really wants to reach the truth, he goes higher than these to a plane where forms are as nothing. Temples or churches, books or forms are simply the kindergarten of religion to make the spiritual child strong enough to take higher steps. And these first steps are necessary if he wants religion. With the thirst, the longing of God comes real devotion, real bhakti. Who has the longing? That is the question. Religion is not in doctrines, in dogmas, or in intellectual augmentation. It is being and becoming. It is realization. We hear so many talking about God and the soul and all the mysteries of the universe. But if you take them one by one and ask them, have you realized God? Have you seen your soul? How many can say they have? And yet they are all fighting with one another. At one time in India, representatives of different sections met together and began to dispute. One said that only God was Shiva, another said the only God was Vishnu, and so on, and there was no end to their discussion. A sage was passing that way and was invited by the disputants to decide the matter. He first asked the man who was claiming Shiva as the greatest god, have you seen Shiva? Are you acquainted with him? If not, how do you know he is the greatest god? Then turning to the worshipper of Vishnu, he asked, have you seen Vishnu? And after asking this question to all of them, he found out that not one of them knew anything of God. That was why they are disputing so much, for had they really known, they would not have argued. When a jar is filled with water, it makes a noise, but when it is full, there is no noise. So the very fact of these disputations and fighting among sections shows that they do not know anything about religion. Religion to them is a mere mass of frothy words to be written in books. Each one hurries to write a big book, to make it as massive as possible, stealing his material from every book he can lay his hands upon, and never acknowledging his in-depthness. Then he launches this book upon the world, adding to the disturbance that is already existing there.